The younger one are more unique in style. You want to show it off. The more you're in Shanghai, I think the more it is obvious.
But you want younger people from 90s, they're much more confident. What they want to be real. They want to be foolish.
She had the shoes, the dress, the rings, the earpieces.
Everything.
The hat, all from the same brand. Okay, that's never happened with a million. That lady was about 50 years old, obviously with a lot of money.
For young generation, when they choose product, their act is like, oh my God, I want it right now. So it's quite different. You have to surprise them. So that's why even for the luxury brands.
Wow, this is surprisingly
Yeah,
fuzzy. No, that's what. Hello and welcome to this edition of Crossover. I'm Ji Xiaojun.
Hello from Beijing. I'm Louisa Lee.
And today we talk about fashion.
Yes.
Just look at the
Look
two
at
models over there.
Yes. And we're not just talking about the fashion sense here in China. We're also digging deeper into the minds of young millennials.
So we're focusing on a special group.
Yes.
We're now joined by three special guests. We have Dominic.
I'm the Executive Director of Condenas Center of Fashion and Design. So we're a continuous education provider in the field of fashion, luxury, providing training to individuals and corporates.
Candy.
Hi.
What do you do?
I have my own TV show on Guangxi TV. I teach people how to dress, look good, confident, mostly for girls. And also I do brand promote.
And we have Ricardo.
What we do on the CEO of Asian Horizon, and we bring niche luxury brands here to China in a way that they can come in a safe way, and we do it both online and offline. I come from a family that we started in 1881 doing fabrics for shirting, and I've been producing garments in China for 25 years, until 5 years ago, together with my co-founder, Carmen Busquets, who co-founded Net-a-Porter, which is a Western luxury commerce brand.
People might be asking, why are we talking about millennials?
Yeah. Why are we talking about them? Well, because they are actually the biggest consumer power as of now.
How big are they?
I think I read it in an article. It was...
hundreds of millions, I guess.
450 million people. A third of the population, like 31%.
1/3 of the population are considered. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
No, so 1/3 of the millennial. I thought it's only born around 2000-ish. It's not like that. It's the younger generation, the men consuming
group
Yeah.
of the
good
country.
disposable income. I think that's one of the big things.
And we want to talk about why do they have high disposable income. I guess it comes back to the whole society as a whole.
That's right.
If you want to compare to the West, a big thing, especially in North America, is student loan.
Yes.
This is something that here in China most likely they don't have.
Oh, you have parent loan.
Exactly, mostly it's
I don't
parents.
know.
Parent donation, right?
I would say it's a gift, right?
Exactly, and or if not, anyway, I mean, education in China overall at the university level is affordable if you compare to a lot of the countries in the West.
Yes.
So suddenly, by you get started as a graduate, although nowadays to get a job is not as easy as it was, but let's say if you still live home, which is often the case, if not, who is paid for it? Most likely the parents.
The parents are paying for it.
So suddenly, if you're making, I don't know, 8,000, 10,000 and up a month, you still have every month several thousand to spend.
So you don't have anything else to worry about. Whatever you own, that's your disposable income, basically.
You're living at home, right? You're eating from home, and the parents are providing the food.
So you guys are not describing like a heaven for the millennials, the 25 to 35?
35.
25 to 35. Wait, I mean, if you're talking about 20 years old, then they are the ones born in the end of the 90s, right?
Yeah. In the 90s, yeah.
And if it is 35, it will be like 80?
In the
80s. So we do have that notions of the 80s generation, the 90s generation. So it's more or less like the two generations,
Yeah, two generations. They are quite different, I think.
Post-80s, post-90s. They're different.
They are different.
Because I used to have some seminar in Condenas Center. The people all come here to have the lecture or seminar. They want to improve themselves or grow in the fashion industry, get more knowledge and information. So for one course, it's the class is the topic is about KOL, and we have students both born in 90s and 80s. When I asked them, can you how to say, introduce yourself or express yourself in short sentence about yourself. The 90s and the 80s are quite different. But you was younger people from 90s, they're much more confident. What they want to be real. They want to be foolish. You know, they want to be funny. That's what they want. So that's why, like, we're going to talk about like street wear, some funny, like, very interesting design come out for the young generation. They're quite different because they're much more self-confident than the generation before them.
I would say that also another difference is that the 80s, the ones in the 80s are a bit less digital than the 90s. So you can target them in a different way. I'm sorry, but I always look at the business part of everything that we're talking about. But yeah, the 90s are much more digital, I would say, than the 80s. And it's true what Candy is saying about the difference between them. They're two different types.
It's like they live on a mobile phone.
Yeah, they're
Absolutely.
very tech savvy. They're always on the phone, always posting photos, you know, Instagramming and everything.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They're not even talking to each other anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
you go to restaurants sometimes. Well, it's a bit everywhere in the world, but I think in China, definitely today, I mean, people are sitting at the restaurant, nobody seems to be talking to each other.
I
Everybody's
feel
on
like
their
the younger
phone.
generation, they're not really reading fashion magazine anymore, but then they're looking at Pinterest, they're looking at Weibo,
Yeah.
looking at how other people dress as advice.
Well, don't forget the fact that there are mostly singletons, right? The only child in their family, if they're born in the 80s or 90s, because the policy, the national policy has been changed only like a few two, 3 years ago. So, I mean, the fact being the only child in a family, I guess, does make a huge difference, right? You know, you are the focus. You are the center of attention of not only from your parents, but the whole extended family.
It is. It's also influenced my, like, social life right now. I want to be really, like, outstanding wherever I am.
You're not one of the
I'm 80.
Moonlight Clan members. You're not. You know, when you say Moonlight Clan, basically, because
you spend your
you're
whole month's
playing
salary.
words in Chinese, yeah? It means...
Well, it's according to the lunar calendar, so basically it means that you spend all your salary before the end of the month, so you spend it all. So
The
no
80s
savings.
wouldn't, I think.
It means that there's no savings.
90s might.
Yeah,
the 80s
yeah.
would not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The 80s will be more
I have
careful
savings.
with that somehow. Because somehow, I mean, most of people who are well off today from the 80s, still, when they grew up, most likely wasn't that comfortable yet. Well, the 90s, but most of them, especially in big urban center, they've had quite an easy life in a way.
So it's more or less like, because at the time, China is still developing, still transiting from the old society to the more developed society, and the lifestyle could be also different.
And also their parents change.
And the parents
So the
too.
parents from the 80s generation kids to the 90s are different. The ones from the 90s have had a bit more of a better life.
That's right.
The ones of the 80s, the harshness is still quite close by.
I mean, I guess we're saying, because China is transforming tremendously, basically,
So
in the
fast.
past 30, 40 years, and the 80s or the 90s, and are the ones who had the chance to feel the differences, the changes. If they are living in a society which is basically the same, probably we don't talk about the different traits of different generations, right? It's only a difference of a decade. But if we come back to the topic today, we're talking about this millennials. We're talking about the fashion trends of the millennials. When you realize all these facts, being the single child in the family, they might, you know, develop their own ideas of what fashion is. How is that going to affect their views on fashion?
Obviously, you could say the younger one are more unique in style. They want to show it off. The more you're in Shanghai, I think the more it is obvious. I think, right? If you compare with Beijing.
All of you are from Shanghai.
We're all based in Shanghai.
That's interesting. Beijing is not going to like it.
It definitely says something. And just walking on the street, you see the difference. Huh?
Yeah.
In a way, I think, in a way, you may see some bold look once in a while on the street of Beijing, but then again, this is because maybe there's no standard. So let's try something if you feel for it. While in Shanghai, maybe this is developing a bit earlier. They have been more exposed to the rest of the world. But definitely, the younger you are, the more own style you'll have, the more digital you're going to be focused. This is where you get your information.
The digital savvy fact, how is that going to affect it?
But they have access to so much more information and so much faster. Like, we don't have patience anymore. You know how much you read and do you take the time to do it. But they don't. That's definite.
I read this article online that says that fashion is related strongly with the financial state of a country. For instance, I read this example online. It says that back in 1920s in the West, people wore shorter skirts to show off their nice stockings because that was when the economy was good. And then when the market crashed, they wore longer skirts. I mean, what does that mean in China? Because the economy is, is booming. What does that mean for the people that are here? I mean, if they have nice shorts or if they have nice shoes to show off the shoes, I mean, what does it mean for the
It means you're
fashion?
living a quite comfortable life.
No, but it certainly means that people are very much into new things. So they like to discover. And they want also to discover things not only for themselves, but also that they have like the name between their friends that they are the people who are discovering things and that other people sort of follow them. Like you would follow Candy because she's a person that probably is going to be able to find out of all the things that are out there, the ones that are special or that are better. So that has made a big change. So people will be looking for new things, probably not liking a lot of the brands that their parents usually would like. They want to have their own brands. They want to feel like they can have their own style, their own brands, their own world. So that's quite important. That uniqueness that Dominic was talking about, that also comes out in fashion. So I want to be different, I want to be special, still in certain, you don't want to have crazy things, but you want to be the one known as somebody that has its own style. So you're not basically a follower of people, but you're a leader of people.
Now, you've been in China for 17 years, Ricardo in China for 11 years.
11 in China and 6 in Hong Kong.
Candy in China whole life. So, let's talk about the changes, because when you first came here, I guess the younger generation at that time and their fashion sense, it was pretty much different from what you felt these days, right?
It was not a priority, I would say.
No, it was a priority. There were not much options anyway. I mean, back then, really, I mean, where were the options of shopping even in Shanghai?
Big brands, maybe that's the only option, right?
It was all very expensive. Right? Or extremely cheap with the local brands with no look, no fit, and nothing.
I remember one person that worked with me for like 14 years, and I very distinctively remember the first day that he wore jeans. So during 11 years, he only had a suit, always the same, white shirt, dark tie, and a suit, 11 years. One day I was living in Hong Kong, I go back to our office in Wuxi, and I see him in jeans. And it took him 11 years to do that. And then, everything evolved. But there was a very consistency in what people were wearing. Men were always the same
stuff.
Ladies also, they had their own style, but not big colors or things like that.
When you were traveling, you would go to a mountain in China, you go to Huangshan in Anhui. The guys would be walking up,
fully dressed up.
with dress, with shoes, and even the tie.
For pictures.
I mean, and amazing. Well, now, totally. So right now you've got more, the growth of streetwear, for example. This is something that's big right now.
I mean, what I felt is basically, because the whole nation, because when the economy is developing, when we have more connections with the outside world, the whole nation is also developing in fashion-wise, right? And then especially with the younger generation, the millennials we're talking about, and then they're developing their own fashion sense.
Yeah, and they also have more choices.
That's right.
And I think that's also another reason why they get to be themselves or get to be unique.
And the fact of being a singleton, the only child in the family.
More disposable income.
More disposable income and the more willingness to spend whatever they've earned in 1 month's salary. And all these facts are now contributing to the changes.
Yes.
Choices in China, but also going overseas.
Okay, let's take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion.
For more information about Crossover, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the studio as we continue our talk about the fashion scene here in China.
So the question is, what exactly are they looking for? I mean, everyone is saying millennials, they're looking for their own style. So what exactly are their own style?
When you ask young people, what do you want for a birthday? A gift? A Dior bag? They will, The bag is the brand for mom or auntie. It's not for me.
They say
I'm
that?
actually
Yeah,
surprised.
but what do you want? Then, I want the collection from Louis Vuitton with Supreme.
So the message is huge brand, Louis Vuitton, LV,
Yeah.
but with some twist, with kind of a
Like a
more-
special collection,
Yeah.
right? Like related to streetwear.
Before, people were looking, as you're saying, for brands, and now, or products. So I want a handbag. I want this brand. But now people are looking for a story. They're looking for
Yeah.
a founder. They're looking for a designer that is representing something else than just expensive products. So whoever is the founder behind, and we're talking more about the niche brands here, which are the ones that millennials are really, really keen on. I mean, as she was saying very well, they don't want the brand of auntie or of grandma or of their mother. So they are looking for things that are new, but especially that they have a story behind it. Can be that it's a brand that takes care of nature. It's a brand that the founder is special because of something else. There has to be something behind. So they are not, they don't really want, I want this product that is so expensive so everybody sees that I've spent so much money and I can
And they
do
show the
it.
logo somewhere.
That's moving on to, I can choose beautiful products. I can choose products by myself, which I found sometimes through my friends in social media. But that brand stands up for something. It's got a story behind it.
So
And they
in other
love
words,
that.
a big name doesn't always solve the problem. I mean, basically you have a big name somewhere over here, but does it mean that the younger generation are going to, they're going to buy it?
Actually, we did a trunk show, and there was one lady that came with a very big brand that I'm not going to say, but she had the shoes, the dress, the rings, the earpieces,
Everything.
the hat, all from the same brand. Okay, that's never happened with a million. The lady was about 50 years old, obviously with a lot of money.
It shows, right?
Head to toe, the same brand.
I was, let's say, yeah, I was surprised at seeing her.
Surprised by her wealth?
There were many wealthy people there, but certainly she had not made any much decisions about what she was going to wear.
Or maybe she didn't know what is the right way.
Exactly. So that's, for example, why schools like Condé Nast are very good, because people are learning about, and they want to, and they do it through social media, they do it through schools, and they do it through traveling. But millennials, very especially, they will want to have products that have something else than just a logo.
I feel like it's not just about having that bag or that pair of shoes. I feel like it's the whole thing. It's the whole experience, like you mentioned. Like going to nice restaurants, popping a nice bottle of champagne, wearing nice shoes at the same time. If they want more than just the brand. They
The
want,
whole package.
They want, yeah.
So sometimes you, for example, see people with a very expensive handbag, but then maybe the way they walk, or they have very nice shoes, but they're not comfortable in them. So things don't match. So now people want to match their education level, their knowledge level, their travel knowledge with the products that they are wearing. So just wearing a big logo does not make a person anymore.
Yeah.
But is there a particular style that they're into for the Chinese millennials?
You mentioned
No.
streetwear.
Yeah.
For young generation, when they choose product, their act is like, oh my God, I want it right now. So it's quite different. You have to surprise them. So that's why even for the luxury brand.
Wow, this is surprisingly ugly. That's what, not always happens like that. There has to be a wow moment.
Just a wow moment, then that's a big motivate.
But the wow
That's
moment
wow
nowadays
moment.
is also super easy to spend on e-commerce, basically. Right?
Also.
So you could be on your mobile. You see something, one moment, boom, you've spent, you even haven't taken your money
You
out.
don't realize
and
it's spending it.
and it's
Yeah,
It's instantly
exactly.
also.
Yeah, it's on your parents' account anyway.
Exactly.
Many millennials, they're used to instant gratification, because as you were saying, they're the single kids. So whenever they ask for something, they usually got it when they were kids. Now that they grow up, they can do the same thing. They go to their mobile phone and they get it.
Yeah,
So
but
it's instant
spending habits are
gratification.
also different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you go back to the Huangshan experience, fully dressed up for Huangshan as a tourist,
Yeah.
I guess it's happening less with the younger generation, especially. So it's not always like all dressed up for all these occasions. They know what to wear for what occasion. That's the basics, right?
Exactly.
You have to be fitting the environment.
Exactly.
And it is happening.
Totally. I would say recently in Shanghai, especially with men, I think the Chinese guys.
I mean, ladies
have
are
been,
always the ones.
exactly. In a way,
Yeah.
I mean, especially in Shanghai, women
The
have
fashion
been
has changed dramatically
pretty
with
good
men.
over the years. I mean, obviously they're improving, but I think they have always been on top, if you want. They're doing well. And when it comes to guys, I mean, a few years ago, you didn't have to dress up so much for an event because, you know, come on, I'll look okay. Nowadays, I go out slightly less, but when you go out, you need to dress up because, yeah, you'll see the young guys, they're very well dressed. And you've got a lot of influence, I would say, especially from South Korea. I mean, I think the South Korean, when it comes not only to fashion, but the entire pop culture, but grooming, all the creams that they're putting on and all that, I mean, that we don't know so much in the West. I mean, this is picking up big time here, I think.
So do they like Western style more or Japanese, Korean style? Like, what is the
demographic?
Yeah.
Demographic sense.
What is their preference?
I have that really strong feeling because I used to study in London like 5 years ago, and I always have a colorful hair. When I go out, people gonna say, never say ni hao, they're gonna say annyeonghaseyo.
Hey.
Japanese or Korean say they never think I'm Chinese. But now things are totally different.
And one thing that is very interesting is that the way that you communicate with your customer, for example, before you would put an ad on a magazine or you would put an ad on TV, that is changing. So one of the amazing things, for example, that people are doing is what we call product placement. So if you want to sell something in China, you place it in one of the Korean soap operas. And you get one of the actors wearing that.
Still so? Still?
And it sells like crazy.
Still like that?
It's still happening. It's still happening. There's still that influence there because it hasn't been substituted for other things. Certainly, Japan, I think, it's very much gone. Korea is still there.
But some Chinese celebrities,
They're also setting the trend.
Yeah, celebrity factor.
If we ask about outside, I would still say Korea, maybe Europe, but certainly the growth of the Chinese KOL is what...
There's a huge impact.
We have one representative.
Exactly.
So what about this? I mean, because they're young, like we said, 25 to 35. They're still young. So do they normally stick to one style, or do they keep changing it all the time? And maybe that explains in part why fast fashion is
and how do you
so successful in China.
And how do you keep up? Because if they're so, they need something real fast.
That's right.
Yeah, how do you keep up with their mentality of want something new, want something different from other people?
For example, I mean, I've been producing, I produced many years for Zara, and one of the tricks that they used was that they would produce short quantities. So Zara, instead of spending money on doing advertising, what they would do is, okay, we're going to have these really nice shirts, whatever, but it's only going to be in the shop during 2 or 3 weeks, which means that another brand would have the same stock in the shop during 6 months. Okay, so you go, you look at it, you buy it, or you say, I'll come in 1 month to buy it. If you went to Zara, you knew that if you like it, you buy it. If not, it's not going to be here the next time I go. And that's one of the amazing growth engines of a group like Zara, that now many other ones are trying to follow up.
That's why they're called fast fashion.
Yes, but Zara is doing it on a way that is still much faster than many other people. People are trying to replicate the way they are doing it, but in Zara it's in their genes. The other ones are trying to copy. But it's fantastic. Companies like Zara, because sometimes we only speak about luxury, but companies like Zara are very important for...
Are they successful, super successful in China too?
They are successful, and they put up the level than the one they have in other places of the world. Here is more expensive, but it still has this appeal to the customer that they can go and find new things much faster than with other brands.
They do change the collection quite fast.
Very fast.
Can we talk about these two clothing on these two mannequins?
This designer is a Chinese designer. The brand is named CJ Yao, and she has represented her brand during London Fashion Week to 3 seasons, and always have cover shows for during Shanghai Fashion Week. And the brand name is just her own name.
Are you saying millennials like designs like these?
No, I can't say everyone. So I think...
Because maybe I'm too old for this. I'm just wondering.
You don't see yourself.
so that's, I think through this collection you can see a new trend in the market. Is the mass market is disappearing. You can't really see you put one product that fits everyone. So because everyone looking for very, very different style and stuff.
If the millennials are looking for something different with the style, then probably that's like, beginning of the spring of these independent designers, because they can't offer something different.
That's right, the beginning right now in a way, because not only they're looking for something unique and different, they also, as I think as Candy mentioned before, they're getting prouder by the day of what's happening in China. So the day today to say, I wear a local design clothes, it's something to be proud of. And not only, I think, in China, I think overseas progressively they are being recognized a bit.
So it's just that now China is going to be part of the global designer pool, which is how it should be.
And you have some Chinese brands who think of going overseas nowadays. But the question is, do they need with such a big local market?
If they do well in China, maybe they don't even need it.
Exactly. Think of many U.S. brands that are actually not that big overseas. I mean, brands maybe like Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger. I mean, they're very North America based. And because the market is big enough in the U.S., so definitely the same in China.
But sometimes you want to go abroad to also, you know, to also secure a name and reputation there.
To increase your reputation back home. In some cases, this is what
But some have tried. But we believe some of them did it too early. So some brands have gone to London, even got some very nice building, etc. But at the end, the cultural issues still exist, especially sometimes not only in fashion, but fashion is a business. And running a business in fashion is very complicated. So sometimes Chinese companies are trying to go abroad, but there's a cultural mismatch that was not solved in the right way. That will for sure be solved in the future, but not yet. But we will see those brands coming out.
But I think it's safe to say that, you know, whatever the millennials are thinking, they are actually imposing all these impacts on how this industry is developing in all these different aspects in China. But again, there are a group of ranging from 20 to 35. They might be seeking their uniqueness, all these differences, or their own style. But I'm sure there are still trendsetters, right? We'll talk about that after a short break, but we do have one more interview to share with our viewers.
Yeah, we have an exclusive interview with designer Michael Kors.
Wow.
So stay with us. We'll be right back. Shanghai is also the home to top designers, fashionistas, trendsetters. How important is this market to you, China in general?
Just the idea of customers who are busy, curious, and interested in fashion and style. And the Chinese customer, we meet her not just in big cities. You know, we meet her in places like Hamburg, Germany. We meet her around the world. We see them everywhere. And everywhere the Chinese customer goes, they're always excited by what's next and what's new. So it's a very important market for that because you have curiosity and you have sophistication. You have both at the same time, which is the perfect customer. And for a designer, very inspiring.
China is such a huge market, and like you said, it's an important one. Do you think you'll, maybe change up your style or collection or tweak it a little bit to, to fit the Chinese taste?
We've seen in the last few years there's really less difference from region to region and city to city. So we find that really maybe the weather, of course, might be different. You know, is it colder in Beijing than it is in Hong Kong? Certainly it is. But really now we see that our customer, the Chinese customer, the European customer, the American customer, they all see the same thing. So maybe, of course, you might find some colors are more popular in certain countries. Red in China, of course,
very popular?
Is very popular, and it has a cultural meaning. And holidays might change. You know, you have Singles Day. In the States, we don't have Singles Day. We have Thanksgiving. Europe doesn't have Thanksgiving. But we're seeing less and less separation. So we just try to be aware of the local market for holidays and for special colors. And sometimes it's fun to do something special, a special collaboration. But more and more, it's really, it's a global world.
But over the years, have you seen their preferences change?
Oh, definitely, definitely. We used to see very distinct differences, even within, not just within the world, but even within the country. You would see a huge difference. And now, again, the customer she travels, they see everything. He sees what's happening, so they all want to be part of the same story.
So that's Michael Kors?
Yeah, I did the interview in Shanghai.
Right.
And, he mentioned about how it's a global market now with global consumers. Do you agree with it?
Not much different at all.
Not much difference.
From
but
region to region?
Region to region can be slightly different, but obviously we talked earlier about the Chinese going overseas to travel. This is obvious, right? I mean, not only are they consuming here, but actually they are the biggest consumer overseas too. Right? If you go to Paris, go to London, go to all the major cities, and the countries that are not offering enough luxury or fashion-related offer now, for example, Canada is one where I'm from, that we try to find ways to get the stores. We have to, so that's we definitely look into that. So when it comes to the offer, I mean, just here at SKP last night, you could see the Gucci bag with the dog on it. I mean, so there's definitely a reason.
The year of the dog.
Totally. So is it offer everywhere in the world? Question mark. I don't know, but definitely it's offer here. When it comes to nevertheless, when he says that overall the offer becomes closer and closer, and in a way I think it's true because they are becoming global citizens. Nevertheless, maybe there could be a bit more effort on fitting, for example. So the style may be similar, the color may be similar, but does the fitting fit the local body? And this is still an issue, definitely, with few brands.
One thing that I recommend to the brands, sometimes they say, shall I do a special jewelry with a dragon or things like that? And I say, no. That's not what Chinese consumer is looking for. Maybe you can take into account the colors, of course, the green of jade or the red color that people in China like, but don't do things that are very, very, let's say, tailor-made to the Chinese, because the Chinese consumer
is right?
An international consumer, again. So that's what I recommend to the
international trend.
Exactly.
So again, who sets the trends? All these big brands? I mean, it's interesting. He mentioned that there is not much difference, from region to region. But I still get the impression that the price tag is still different from one region to another. And is that why? Is that because all these big brands, international brands, are still very much sought after in the Chinese market, and then that's why maybe it's driving the price going high? So in other words, are these big brands still the trendsetters?
They still some are. You can talk about, for example, changes that you see in local collections, and you know that smells of Gucci, for example, or that smells of, sometimes I go from Balenciaga, that smells of...
They have very distinctive styles, too.
Exactly. So it does come from there, but then people go their own way. But you still have some brands that they are good for a reason.
More video clips to share?
Okay. Well, he talked about his impression of Shanghai. You're all from Shanghai, so let's take a look at the video. Okay.
I love places where people are full of curiosity, energy, and, when I come to China and I come to a city like Shanghai, you see people who are interested in what's next, what's new in fashion. There's always incredible new architecture here, new restaurants. So for a designer, it's very inspiring.
So let's talk about your newest collection here. You shot, some of your new collection in really hip cities like Los Angeles, New York City, of course, London as well. Can you talk about the street style campaign?
One of the things that I find so interesting in today's world, women put their own sort of spin on things, and they wear it in their own personal way. And I think that for me, I love doing a fashion show, but the most exciting thing is when I see what I design on the street, in an airport, in a restaurant, running to catch a taxi, something like that is always inspiring. So I thought about how do we take women who have their own style, and how do we photograph them on the street wearing Michael Kors, but they style themselves. They wear it how they would wear it, because I think people love seeing really different kinds of ways to wear fashion, a different point of view, and then the street is everything. I say the street is the fashion show.
It's kind of like capturing the moment, right? And capturing in a natural way, so to speak.
Well, it's funny. There are classic photographs from many, many years ago, street paparazzi photographs of famous women, women like Jackie Kennedy, that you saw her on the street, captured not at a party, not posing, and we wanted to take that spirit and do it in today's world, that we capture all of these girls really just on the street, living life, moving, and showing off their own personal style.
Do you think maybe in the future you have a chance to maybe shoot the ladies here in Shanghai?
We would love to. We would love to, because, you know, the Michael Kors customer is really a global customer. She travels the world. She's interested in seeing new things, different things, and anywhere she goes that's inspiring is exciting for her, and it's exciting for me. So we've done LA, we've done New York, we've done London. I think China could be next.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So he mentioned that he used that kind of mentality of capturing people in a natural way to become his collection, his campaign. It's kind of what Candy said, because he said people are always about trying to dress up, trying to have their own style. Do you agree with what Michael Kors is saying?
It is. I think the much more exciting fashion show is on the street. So when you find some article about Fashion Week, the most exciting part is the street night. It's not fashion show. I can't say it's not fashion show anymore, but people pay much more attention about street night.
Interesting you mentioning this. There is one place in Beijing, Sanlitun, and you will see lots of photographers actually. They are asking you for permission to take a photo of you, the way you dressed, and then they're interested. Probably they're going to post it on the website. I guess they're working for some KOLs or some website. Again, at the airport, there are people. Maybe they're waiting for those celebrities, but again, you know, celebrities are choosing that location to be the one. Not to issue, not to release, but, you know, the latest image, you know, wearing something specifically for that occasion. So again, we're not only seeing pictures of these celebrities or anyone who is in fashion in all these, you know, shiny places.
Catwalks, parties is also how you dress on a daily basis. You want to impress other people on a daily basis.
And there is this amazing trend now that we used to not have before, where every photograph for a fashion brand would be perfectly done, photoshopped. So now you're seeing this change. People in the street, you're seeing models that are not photoshopped. You're seeing models wearing swimming trunks that they don't have perfect bodies, for example. So you're trying to make that fashion brand closer to the consumer instead of just something that is so far away that even they feel a bit down. The consumer says, she's so pretty and I'm not. So now the brands are trying to also bring it back to, no, you see, the model is similar to you, and that's okay. And that's a very interesting brand.
It's like you're bringing fashion closer to you, or the way that
you and the fashion brand are feeling closer. You feel like you are important for the fashion brand, and you imagine yourself wearing that product, not in the body of Giselle Bündchen, but in your body.
Why is it happening like that?
Because people want to be more, is changing to being more natural, more realistic, more like this trend that we're having about natural fibers, about the products that are not thrown away, about being better with environment. So there's a nature, environment trend happening, and one of those is reality. So fashion is moving from a pedestal that nobody can reach to something that is closer to me.
That is happening with the millennials in China too.
Very special.
I think it just shows also that the society is maturing, becoming slightly more mature, more down on earth, more feeling, you know, living, you know, the normal life.
And I also think with social media as well, with the KOLs, they have also a closer relationship.
More information.
Yeah. We also have a clip. Michael Kors talks about his impression on fashion influencers. Let's take a look. Chinese actress Yang Ning is one of the ladies that was featured in your campaign. How important is it for you to have her in the campaign, and how do you think it will influence the fashion followers here in China?
She's, of course, very beautiful and very talented, but also her personal style. She loves things that are feminine, but sophisticated and young. She manages to combine all of that together. So the way she puts herself together, I think it's a great personal style. And for a lot of women, they're able to see a photograph of her and say, oh, I appreciate her style, and that's how you wear it. That's how you try something different. We showed her, I remember we were showing her a handbag that was bright purple. And I think some women look at bright color, and maybe it's a color they haven't worn before. Maybe they never wear purple. And she put it together and mixed it with gray and black. And it had a very different, very chic, very sophisticated look. So if you see a photograph, you say, oh, I love how Yang Mi is wearing that purple handbag. I understand how to wear it. It's very helpful.
You know, people are always taking photos and, you know, putting on Instagram or tweeting it. How effective do you think social media is to influence, you know, fashion?
In today's world, there are no rules in getting dressed. So a lot of people can be confused. So if you look at social media, it's a great way to have the information to find out what's happening, what's new, what's next.
The final comment is interesting. It's like you're going to a supermarket and you were trying to find a toothpaste and which one to choose?
You have brands from the U.S., from Japan,
Exactly.
from Korea, so which one do you go for?
So it seems at one moment you're saying millennials know what they're looking for. They're looking for their own style, but he's basically saying they might have a little sense, but they don't know exactly what they're looking for. Is that what he's saying? Do you agree?
But things are changing so fast that, in a way, I guess what he says is a bit right? I mean, but then if you look back, we're talking about the formal suit with men before. It was really easy, actually. You just had to choose, I mean, which...
That's safe.
Dark blue, gray, black.
Exactly.
And that's it.
And you had the tie to go with it. So nowadays, how do you do it? So there's much more choices, and this is why streetwear is also coming in so big, where you know it's acceptable pretty much everywhere you go to be wearing it, and you can match it maybe with some more formal pieces too.
And choose the right one to represent the brand. That, I guess, is extremely important.
It's very important. If you don't have the right KOL, you're not going to reach the right consumer that you want. And so people, they are looking for something that in this business we call curation, or curators. So, for example, one thing important of what Candy does or KOL does would be that I am choosing for you things that I like. So basically, you are following somebody, not only because you like their personality or their lifestyle, which is important, but basically because you trust their taste.
Yeah, the trust.
So that person is a curator that you are following. And some of your friends will also be curators, smaller curators, to you. So you say, my friend is wearing this, but that friend is wearing, I don't trust. But that friend, I do trust. And that is a very important source of information for you.
Helping you narrowing down the choices in a way, the KOLs or the fashion influencers in this case.
Is it safe to say that the millennials are technically the first generation in China, the first fashion-aware generation in China, and they care more about their own choices? They care more about their style.
You could say so, although if you just look not at China altogether, but just at Shanghai back in the 20s and 30s, you had a real Shanghai,
I mean, let's say
Shanghai style.
of the new times, the new
But in the past
era.
40 years, definitely. You're by far the first one.
Yeah. But the thing is it's not just the millennials, not only the younger generation, or maybe, I mean, we're entering this era when the economy is developing, when the living standard is also improving. So it's not just the younger generation, but, you know, generations of different age groups, of different regions. They are all seeking their own styles. And they may not necessarily come with the international trend, but, you know, certainly it's their trend, it's their style, as long as they enjoy it. Boom, that's the style. So we're coming now to the end of our discussion, but in the end we're going to share with our viewers some video footage just to show you a different aspect, different side of fashion and the understanding of a different age group of a different region.
Yes. Thank you for joining the show today, and thank you for your insights.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.
像女企业家就定制的会多一些，因为他们参加活动比较多，年会啊，然后各种协会的会议啊，他们都希望自己穿得靓丽一点。大多数的时候都不想出现撞衫的情况，因为如果都是买奢侈品，是很容易撞衫的，因为都是女人的情况下，对方如果穿得比你更好看，那种情况是很尴尬的。